Hello and welcome to my little video about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today, not an airliner flight. I wanted to explore Microsoft Flight Simulator a little bit uh, the way it's meant to be explored at the moment. I don't think there is enough third-party stuff yet to fly it the way I fly X-Plane. Uh, don't get me wrong, I think vanilla out of the box, this is the better deal. X-Plane is crap when you compare out of the box versions, but after many hours and many hundreds of dollars of time and money and sweat and tears, blood, sweat and tears, I think X-Plane is the better flight simulator for airliner flights. But I want to just take a look at this. This is the what was it, $90 version, deluxe. This is the one that comes with the 787. But that's not really what I want to fly right now. The choices of airplanes is actually fantastic. I love every single one of these. I've done a little flying with these, the Citation. And the bush planes are fun too. The choices are very fun. The airliners are a little thin. I do wish it had a 737. It's just my favorite plane to fly. The Airbus 320 I don't know anything about. I'm sure it's a lot of things are the same as a 737. Somewhere in the near future I'm probably going to go try and figure this plane out. The 787 is a plane I used to work on quite a bit, so I know the systems. But in the vanilla planes, the default planes are really not all that realistic. Many of the buttons are in op. Things that you should be able to set left and right are only set as a whole. And quite honestly, I don't like the 787, the 747 to fly because you're sitting way high up. It's a beast of a plane. Many people will probably like it. I'm not a big fan, but yeah, it is a beautiful plane. Looks and feels are pretty good right out of the box for this flight simulator. I should think. The 787 is a plane that I've been flying, but it's very frustrating. Because especially the FMC, the CDU, there are many options that I'm missing that I cannot play with the same way. So I'm kind of waiting for a third-party plane to come out, probably the PMDG version of the 737, which will be very expensive probably. I've seen prices in the 150s. I was crying when I heard it, but I heard it's also probably gonna be very much worth it. So in the end, I'll probably spend another couple of $100 on Microsoft Flight Simulator. However, the things I spend most time and money on are scenery and looks, and in that case, I am set with Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think. As you shall see in the next plane that I pick, which is the Icon A5. Why the Icon A5? Because it's simple and it's beautiful and very versatile. This is what I think a plane should be in 2020, because there's a couple of buttons, a start switch, and done. This is simplicity and just joy of flight. No mixture controls, no prop controls, no anti-ice, nothing. Just simple flying fun. Of course, it's a light sport airplane. That means that while it can be simple, you can also not fly during a lot of conditions. But this is a flight simulator, so we can control those conditions. There was another flight simulator program, and the name escapes me at the moment, that had the Icon A5 as well. Microsoft pulled the game, pulled support for the game because it was mostly a game. And I was kind of sad about it because to me that was kind of fun to just take an airplane and just go for it. But the scenery was very limited, and it wasn't really a flight simulator like Microsoft Flight Simulator was. But it was a fun game. Then people must have just, not liked it. Oh, it's not the same thing. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't think it was meant to be. But it was more for everybody else. I think the overall feel for Microsoft Flight Simulator right now that I have is similar, but this time they wanted to do it right and not make it too much of a game for people to complain about, really. Anyway, so here is the Icon A5. I'm going to select it. I do want to change a couple of things. No. Liveries, wind balance. Let's fill the thing up all the way. Fill years, no. ATC options, till number, I don't care. Call sign. Let's, what shall I call it? Because I shall do it simple. Orange 99. Why? I could make it heavy too if I want. Why? Because having to listen to ATC constantly saying Alpha Papa Golf Golf X-ray shoot whatever is too much. Just make it simple. And we are done. So that's our choice of planes. Where I'm going to start, I am going to start at Seattle. Because I want to fly around the Puget Sound. And this plane is perfect for that because it can land wherever it wants. I'm going to take a ramp as departure. Large, doesn't really matter, it's a ramp. We're going to go to flight conditions. If you do live players, you cannot choose weather or time. All players you can, that's just sort of, you can see where all the players are, but quite honestly it's a very, very empty world still. So I'm going to turn that to off, and I'm going to do AI traffic. That also has to do that I think live traffic is kind of broken, because if I choose live traffic, I hear a lot of planes in the neighborhood that are like 20,000 feet too high, and they all have to descend and maintain 10,000 feet. For some reason, ATC wants everybody to fly at 10,000 feet. And of course, they never do, so they'll ask over and over and over again. The ATC system in this is not really. I think there are a lot of things that need to be fixed in this still. So I'm going to turn that off right now. Oh, sorry, to AI right now, and I shall choose a very dense setting for that for now. I'm going to do a custom live weather. Why? Because it's kind of early, 5:21 here, and it's a little bit too dark. So we're going to do custom, and let's see. We're going to do about, what, 6:20? Yeah, 6:30-ish. That should be light enough for us to actually see stuff. And I do love a early morning flight. All right, so that gets the flight conditions out of the way. And let's see. Yeah, let's do a flight. And this takes a while. One of the reasons I turned the music off as well, by the way, because it's the same 20 seconds over and over and over again, and especially after you install the game, which takes a couple of hours, you're really sick of those 20 seconds of music. So here we go. So here we are. I find that very confusing that right now nothing works because I still have to press the ready to fly button right there. There you go. Now stuff works. Now I can go look in general at traffic, and I can turn off all the densities. I kind of switch this to max and see what we'll get. I'll switch this to max as well. Road vehicles, sure. Actually, the airport vehicle density not so much, because they do tend to be in the way. I found apply save, and we shall see what we'll see, because honestly last time I saw very few boats and planes, but we'll see now what we can find. The best way to fly any plane, especially when you're new to it, is by checklist, because if you don't know where anything is, this will help. After cockpit entry, we can press on all electrical equipment and evaluation.
All electrical equipment. Master.
Okay, on.
Fuel valve. On.
So if I didn't know about the fuel valve, I probably would have spent several minutes trying to find whatever the heck it is that made me not be able to start the plane. So we go to engine start.
Strobe.
Okay, a strobe on.
Throttle.
Half.
Open 1/2 inch.
Half inch.
Ignition.
Ignition to start.
Start. Throttle.
Set to 2000.
Set 2000 RPM. Oil pressure. Monitor.
And there's one more. Engine run up.
Throttle. Greater than 2500 RPM until alternator out. Exterior lights.
I don't really think the
power lever.
I don't really think the landing lights are necessary right now. Okay, so basically we're all set and ready to go. It's that simple. This is why I like the Icon A5. It really took me a couple of seconds to get this thing going. It looks fantastic, and it's very simple. Nobody's in my way. I don't really require a pushback right now. So here we go. Oh, I need to. There we go. Normally I use a second window, a second monitor for this, but I found the second monitor really impedes a smooth recording. So I will just use it like this, and I'll have to just get it out of the way every time. I just don't want it in view. Alright, let's see. Let's start with ground, and I want to have a departure north.
Ground Orange Niner, ready to taxi north, departure with India. Orange Niner, taxi to and hold short of runway 34 right using taxiway Bravo. Contact tower on 119.9 when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 34 right using taxiway Bravo Orange Niner.
And I have to get used to acknowledging them, because I have Pilot to ATC set to acknowledge for me and do all my frequency changes. This does change frequencies really easily. And that reminds me, I really have to turn this on, because if I turn the transponder on, there we go, it will also automatically change that, and if I forget, it won't. Alright. So park and brake off. This takes a lot of power before it finally starts moving. I'm hoping I'm not hitting the guy on the tug. And yes, I do have it set to show me the way to get to the runway. Why? Because I don't really feel like pulling up maps and stuff, or trying to read the airport signs. And the arrows go right through the cockpit, which is kind of weird, but fine. These are the only 8s that I've turned on, by the way. That runway 16 left here, and the arrows. One annoyance is that, and I noticed this especially with airliners. If I drive too fast, the steering is very, very limited. All right, so my parking brake. So I have to slow down quite a bit before me to do some tight steering. All right, let's get into the takeoff trim, which is right here. As you can see, you can also see it right here. It should, well, actually, this actually says takeoff trim is right there. In the green band. So what shall it indicate here? I don't know why it says takeoff down here and then it moves it there when I go to the green band. I don't know if that is an issue or not, but I do find that I've flown this before. I do find that having it in the green band is a pretty good takeoff. I'll move my flaps to the first setting, and my flap lever is right here. 2 settings, not too hard. One other nice thing is that I can sort of sit up, as you can see, a lot more like that. In this plane, not that much of an issue, but in airliners, this is kind of a nice setting. You can sort of like lean forward and see more, basically. All right. Request takeoff.
Seattle Tower, Orange Niner, ready for north departure at runway 34 right. Orange Niner, cleared for takeoff runway 34 right departure to the north approved.
And I have to acknowledge
Cleared
that.
for takeoff runway 34 right, Orange Niner.
There are more annoyances to the ATC. You will see them. But for now, I kind of prefer having it on just to make it a bit more realistic. All right, we're ready to go. We don't really need all of the runway, so it's not like I have to. Yeah, man. It's not a powerhouse, this plane. Look at that, just like that. Beautiful. All right, move my flaps up, gear up, trim. I told them I would do a north departure, so I'll stay at this heading.
Orange Niner, continue for north departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace. Seattle Tower, Orange Niner, continue for north departure.
All right. It's a beautiful day. I don't want to go too high. I want to stay under 1,000 feet if I can keep it there. Yeah, turn my volumes down a little bit because. All right. So it's a bit touchy on the trims, but. What's beeping? Probably a marker or something. Yep.
Orange Niner, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
It's the middle marker.
Seattle Tower, Orange Niner, frequency change.
Seattle approach, and now we're gonna get.
Seattle approach, Orange Niner is type icon A52 miles north of Seattle, 1,100 feet. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Orange Niner, Seattle approach. Squawk 1724. Squawk 1724, Orange Niner.
And there it goes.
Niner, radar contact 3 miles north of Seattle, 1,400 feet. Cleared through the Bravo airspace. Maintain on navigation.
Alright. And now we're just gonna have fun.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace, Orange Niner.
So my plan is we'll do a flyby here of Seattle. It sort of shows you what the scenery looks like at night. It all looks very cool, especially from 1,000 feet and above. If you get closer, it's starting to all crash a little bit, the expectations, but you know, it's maybe not a flight simulator for that up close and personal, and it's still fun. I have found that generally, since it's all based on let's do a little bit of a low. I could actually land there, but let's not. I mean, it is after all a seaplane, or more of a lake plane, I suppose. I mean, this thing in the sea will probably be pretty helpless. It is kind of fun to have that option though on the icon. But yeah, this simulator, having used satellite imagery, the precision is fantastic. I have recognized many landmarks, many roads, the exit to my things are starting to move here. If you look down, it's trying to build the scenery as we come closer. Now this looks a lot better than it did yesterday, actually. There were some textures that were on the water that looked like a container ship had sunk, but you can see water on the container ship to the left here. Same here to the left, that water texture used. It still looks fantastic though, doesn't it? Alright. Let's make sure we don't hit these bridges. Maybe should have selected a little bit of a later time. Oh, there's that texture that I was talking about. That texture on the left there. When if it's a little lighter out, you can see it looks like a texture from the top of a container ship that has sunk. It's like a 2D texture. It's a 2D ship. And if you look at the cranes, the texture of roads can be seen. It's like they use the texture of bridges as the side texture of those cranes. Don't get me wrong, it still looks awesome, especially from 1,000 feet high, but once you get closer, let's bust this container ship right here. There's the wheel. The wheel isn't round. So up close and personal, it all looks a little boxy, like somebody made everything from cardboard boxes. However, then you get to the Space Needle, and somebody else probably spent days making that perfect, because you know, the Space Needle. The Science Center down here. Key Arena. Right. But it all looks fantastic, doesn't it? A lot of seaplanes land here. A small airliner flying seaplanes to Victoria and Vancouver resides here. And here's my beef now with Flight Simulator, because I have selected pleasure boats and airplanes to the max, and I don't see anything. I do see big boats. Normally on this lake it's pretty busy. I suppose you could argue it's early in the morning. There's some houseboats. I think Sleepless in Seattle is filmed here, around here somewhere. Alright. Let's head further north. I'm not gonna post my entire flight. I need to play a little bit with my trim here to get the plane to level off nicely. Waking up a lot of people right now.
Generic 425 descend and maintain 2,900 feet.
Alright. I am going to go and switch off the ATC because it's... Or I'll just switch it off right there. Play safe. That way I can concentrate on flying and not be constantly annoyed by the ATC. For now, it's just me, gonna be me here in the world. And quite honestly, have you seen any planes? I haven't seen any planes other than me. I hope this helps some people make up their mind as to how great of a flight simulator this is for this kind of flying. Like I said, airliner flying. If you're the kind of person like me who loves to have things a bit realistic, this is mostly frustrating, especially the ATC system. You can use pilot to ATC, but pilot to ATC has some flaws as well. I found it doesn't really know, even though it shows what altitude you are at and everything, it doesn't seem to actually know what altitude I'm approaching. It seems to think, it seems to just give me the altitudes as the altitudes get reached in its own flight plan, but not as I'm reaching them, like in X-plane. So which still makes it a lot better than the ATC here. But I'm not going to use it when I'm doing a VFR flight. Alright. Let's get up higher. Let's head to my job site. This was my little flyby of Seattle. And we'll meet again once I'm closer to Everett Paintfield. Let me show you a little bit the view. We're in the middle of a bit of clouding. Yesterday I did my landing at Arlington Airport, Arlington Municipal, and it started to get fogged in. It looks fantastic, absolutely beautiful. The weather engine on this, the shading, everything, it just looks fantastically realistic. To have a little bit of a right turn going here. I can trim that out, of course. I can just go back to where I need to be. Sunrise, the Pacific Northwest, over the mountains. So here to my left, that is Whidbey Island, that is Camino Island. Well, I think, let's see. Negative. This is where I'm heading, this little airport right here. It's Payne Field. This is Whidbey Island. I do see a couple of boats here. Well, one. It's just disappeared behind the... See, for turning on all my... There it is, I think that's a boat. It's out on the water. For turning on pleasure craft and ferries and vessels and stuff, I really don't have a lot of them in view at any time. Alright. I'm going a bit fast here. Let's Orange County, Payne Field, KPAE. And I want a full stop landing.
Payne Tower Orange Niner is 4 miles southwest with Quebec to land.
And I'm thinking they probably want me to do a left.
Enter left traffic
Yep.
runway 16 right. Altimeter tree 0.14 with 157 at tree. Fly left traffic runway 16 right Orange Niner.
We'll do it their way. Of course, not straight in. I can, of course, request a different runway and do a straight in from the south, but let's assume right now that is not an option and do it the way they want me to. That's the runway. I realize I'm crossing right in front of it, since I turned all the... Really have to trim it a bit to the left there. Now it's a little... Uh, 1.6, right, correct, so I gotta have the big one. Realistically, these kind of planes usually get told to get 1.6 left, but I'm not an expert on traffic patterns, so I'm probably doing this wrong at the wrong altitude and whatever. One thing I'm missing here is kind of a compass. Does this thing have a compass? I mean, I can see myself in the... Oh, I could. I just clicked it by mistake. Doesn't seem to have a compass, but at least I can see myself on the map, so I know I'm flying north now. That's Painfield. This is where I work. Would it be nice to be able to fly to work, huh? Right, stay there. It's worth noting that some of the buildings are depicted a bit too low. This is the Boeing factory, and that would be the right height for this as well. It doesn't look like the big building that it is. This plane right here would fit in here, and right now it is too high. There is something else wrong with that plane.
Cleared to land runway 16 right, orange 9er.
I will show you that once I get a little closer. Good time to start with flaps and stuff. Yeah, I definitely do see some bigger ships, bigger ships. They sort of seem to float in the air mostly. Water textures are pretty decent. Keep an eye on that runway. Flaps. Gear down. Let's make sure to handle this. Yep. And it shows gear down. While I was concentrating on that, I kind of overshot. That's okay. High still as well. But these kind of planes they can almost do anything. And it's not like I need the entire runway. I could set it down at the last quarter part of it. Still be just fine. Alright, here comes the red lights. Test my landing skills here. There are some fun activities that you can do in Flight simulator as well. Hovering. That's not too bad.
Orange Niner, exit runway when able.
See, now these arrows are a little obnoxious.
Orange Niner, contact ground on 121.8.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
Going to 121.8 Orange Niner.
Alright. Ping ground. And what we're going to do now is taxi for takeoff. Departure north. 5.
Pain ground, Orange Niner, with Quebec request taxi for takeoff north departure. Orange Niner, taxi to and hold short of runway 16 right using taxiway Alpha Tree Alpha. Contact tower on 1 tree 2.95 when ready.
There we go.
Taxiing hold short runway 16 right using taxiway Alpha Tree Alpha Orange Niner.
Honestly, I didn't really need the arrows because I know this. Okay, let's look at that, right? So this is pretty much where I work. See this plane? That is an Airbus. That is an Airbus 380. Let's continue here. It does require a lot of power to move this. Looks like there are several Airbus 380s up there. And I think this was a bit of a middle finger to Boeing because this is the Boeing flight line. And the only planes that you will see here normally are Boeings. The Airbus 380 wouldn't fit in this stall either. But that's just semantics, or that's just nitpicking here. But yeah, this is actually the Boeing flight line filled with Airbuses. Kind of weird, but whatever. Let's expedite my taxiing a little bit here. As you probably heard, I want to do a north departure. I really should have, let's see, beam tower.
Pain tower, Orange Niner, ready at runway 16 right departure to the north. Orange Niner, cleared for takeoff runway 16 right departure to the north approved.
Alright.
Cleared for takeoff runway 16 right, Orange Niner.
Kind of went right through some of the hold short lines. And I really didn't have to exit and taxi around. I had plenty of runway left to take this thing off. Alright, let's get the flaps back in that position. Make sure I got takeoff trim. And again, I don't know if this is the right one or the one in the flight deck. I would assume that this is the right one to... oh, I don't know why I hit that just now. I would assume this is the right one, but well, actually, why don't we just try it? There. So according to this is takeoff trim. Alright, here we go. Cleared for takeoff, so Ah, beautiful. That was pretty good. Gear up. I would have preferred if they gave me choice to... I got some switches on my joystick, and I would have loved to be able to push it up for gear up and push it down for gear down, but it's the same push down for both. A couple of joystick.
Continue for north departure. I will contact you next when you leave my airspace.
Alright, it was a north departure.
Pain Tower Orange Niner, continue for north departure.
That's Whidbey Island. Look at that ground fog. Gorgeous. Come on. Another annoyance is head switches. I can't press them between forward and right. It's either forward or right. I can't use it to look slightly to my right. It's all or nothing. I'm considering whether I can still change that somewhere. Considering investigating this. I haven't played this very long yet. There are still some things that I have to fiddle with. You know, see the scratches and the fingerprints and whatever on the windshield? That's a little bit much here. You'd think he'd clean the windshield a little bit more. I do love that though, because not showing like windshield glare and it makes it too fake for me as well. I do love how it shows the windshield so well. So whoever owns this plane really should be doing a better job cleaning it. Alright. Let's go bust an aircraft carrier, shall we? It's not a very nice looking aircraft carrier, but as you will see. Also see how it sort of grains here. I don't know if that is it's I suppose you could argue that is the shimmer from the top of the instrument panel there, of the glare shield. Look at the clouds over that mountain range. I do love the Pacific Northwest, the Puget Sound area. It's so beautiful here, and no matter what people say, the weather is beautiful here all the time too. Now when they say pleasure boats, they mean pleasure boats. This is probably a multi-million-dollar yacht.
Niner, you are leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved. Pain Tower Orange Niner, frequency change.
Right. You can't really see this yet.
Seattle approach Orange Niner is type icon A5 4 miles north of Pain.
But that thing here,
Orange Niner, Seattle approach.
is an aircraft carrier.
Squawk 5353 Orange Niner. Orange Niner, radar contact 5 miles north of Pain, 300 feet. Altimeter 30.14. Copy Orange Niner.
They want my attention, don't they? Okay. They don't seem to care that I'm flying really close to a to an aircraft carrier right now. It looks like a shoebox though, doesn't it? That thing here on the left. And that ship to the left here, it's not beautiful. But again, you know, you fly at 1,000 feet or so, it looks a lot better. It looks more authentic. Just don't do what I do. Let's see. No, I really should be sucking up my flaps. Waking some people up again here. Sounds like a lawnmower engine, doesn't it?
Orange 9er, contact Seattle Center on 128.05. 128.5 for Orange 9er.
Okay, this is where the ATC is starting to get really annoying.
Seattle Center, Orange 9er, 400 feet. Orange 9er, Seattle Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.14.
I could cancel flight following, but look how beautiful this is. Alright. Next stop, Camino Island. You can just see the tip of it, which is here. That's the tip of Camino Island right there. As you can see, we're kind of heading towards
Orange 9er, contact Whitby approach on 118.2. Going to 118.2, Orange 9er. Whitby approach, Orange 9er, 500 feet. Orange 9er, Whitby approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.14.
heading to some foggy situations here. Hope it's not too foggy because we'd like to see something as well. And I kind of want to do a water landing off the coast of Camino Island. Try to get near the state park. That's where I put my boat in the water all the time. So we'll head to the boat launch. I wonder if you could put an airplane in the water there. I doubt it. I know the wings fold up. How do I know? Because there's a big lever here that says wing lock, which is fortunately in up. Can't move it. Parachute, you can't pull the parachute either. This is where I sometimes spend the day on the boat. Go crabbing a lot. I'd like to do a little bit more fishing than I am, but that the rules and regulations don't allow fishing for the right kind of fish all the time. Wow. Well, looks like looks like it's clear there. The state park is right here at the tip. Oh no, it was clear. I think that cloud is moving in. And light sport regulations. These planes cannot fly in foggy and low visibility rules. This is where that simplicity bites you in the butt of the light sport airplane regulations. But this is a flight simulator and nobody cares, so I'm gonna go land in the water next to the state park anyway. I'm gonna do a low pass just to see whether I can land there, which I suppose is the way you should do it. Usually kind of busy there. Of course it's a little early now. Wow. Right in that fog. It's annoying. Well, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody, and I don't recognize it either because I'm a little early. As this is not where the state park is. The state park is at that location. Maybe there's a reason there are regulations for flying in low visibility. This is the tip. I'm halfway tempted to turn off the weather right now. Where's the fun in that? This I recognize. Barely. There's the state park. And there's the boat launch. Right. Lower flaps. Lord. Try to end up close to the boat launch. Isn't that beautiful? I wish I had something like a brake right now. I do know that there's a rudder that I can extend. To make steering a little easier. I've overshot it a little bit. The boat launch is about straight ahead for me. Come on. It's like the water is pushing me over to the left. And that was a boat landing, or a water landing in an icon. Alright, but we want to fly. Let's raise the flaps one. I really don't think the rudder's all that needed. Let's take off again. Okay. Gonna go for our next landing. Here we go. Alright, we should be able to go to airborne now. Let's climb above this soup.
When we approach Orange 9er is type icon A5 7 miles southeast of Kilo November Romeo Alpha. Request flight following. Orange 9er with the approach. Squawk 7172. Squawk 7172 Orange 9er.
So it did register that as a landing.
Contact 6 miles southeast of Kilo November Romeo Alpha 400 feet. Altimeter 30.14. Copy Orange 9er.
However, I found that if I do these kind of multiple landing, good lord, it really is souped in, isn't it? If I do these kind of multiple landing flights, where I take off again, it registers the landings but not the takeoffs. It registers one takeoff, because you know, you start off taking off at least once. Alright, let's see if Camino Airport is clear. Nearest airport list. The tiniest little airport.
13 Whiskey traffic, Orange Niner, 6 miles southwest, 1,200 feet inbound to land, runway 34.
Yeah, I think it's clear. Right. Beautiful. The bay here. The airport is about there. I don't know. Yeah, it's clear. Facing it right now. Stanwood right here. I hope this sort of shows you what kind of flights you can do with this. I mean, it is beautiful. Look at how the clouds look. I did say I would do a full stop. Let's do a touch and go instead.
13 Whiskey traffic, Orange Niner, 3 miles south, 900 feet inbound, touch and go left, traffic runway 34.
Alright. This runway is so minuscule. Landing gear down. Landing gears down. And it's not lit either. It's a little grass strip. I think I see it. There it is. A little notch in the trees right there. If I didn't know it was there, I wouldn't have seen it. Joystick is starting to get a little sticky. Need to get some WD-40 in that thing. Uh,
13 Whiskey traffic, Orange Niner, is on final runway 34, touch and go left, traffic.
Too far to the left. Good lord. Alright. Not one of my prettiest approaches. I do need to set it down at some point. Alright, this was horrible. That was only just okay. Not one of my best. Oh well. Quite honestly, I haven't done a landing there yet. I'm pretty proud of myself for finding it. Alright.
Victoria approach, Orange Niner, is type icon A5, 1 miles north of 13 Whiskey. Request flight following. Orange Niner, Victoria approach. Squawk 5507.
Let me just say that Victoria approach doesn't make any sense here. Victoria is like 150 miles north here.
Orange Niner, Niner, did you hear my last
Oh,
transmission?
sorry, didn't acknowledge, did I?
Squawk 5507, Orange Niner, Niner.
Radar
Orange
contact.
Niner, radar contact 2 miles north of 1 Tree Whiskey, 500 feet. Altimeter tree 0.14. Copy, Orange Niner, Niner.
Right. Now we're heading for Whidbey Island. Deception Pass. Have a weird effect.
Orange Niner, Niner, contact Whidbey approach on 118.2.
Suppose I don't need the flaps anymore.
Going to 118.2, Orange Niner, Niner. Whidbey approach, Orange Niner, Niner, 500 feet. Orange Niner, Niner, Whidbey approach, continue as planned. Altimeter tree 0.14.
See, Whidbey approach here makes sense. It is still a pain that it's constantly, I mean, tune this, tune that, tune that. Seconds after they take over, sometimes I get the next request for frequency change. Now we're getting in the most beautiful part of the Puget Sound. This is where all the islands start. Here is the San Juan Islands. And I hope you agree that this is the perfect plane to do this flight with. I kind of botched that landing on Camino Island, but I think I survived it. It's a nice thing about a flight simulator on a computer. Thinking I survived it is good enough. I have gone here in my boat as well. It is very shallow here. There's actually a narrow channel that goes up north. With markers. Those markers are not visible in here. Now we're heading to the scariest part of any of my boat rides, Deception Pass. It's a narrow channel, it's right here. Zoom in a bit. It's right here. And the water current through there is insane. There's eddies everywhere. I have a 19-foot boat. And going through that when the current is at its worst is scary. There is another way to get to the Sound, north of Whidbey Island. Well, head that way next. Past a cute little town called Laconner. I do like how precise the altimeter is in this view. I haven't quite figured out yet how to make it all go away so I can take nice pictures, but I'm sure there's a way to do that. Maybe not through a hotkey, maybe through maybe through the menu, but and here in the distance are the San Juan Islands. Lots of marine life around here. I see little dolphins all the time, the little harbor porpoises, whatever those are called. Seals, lots and lots of seals. Fishermen hate them because, you know, seals eat the fish that they like to catch. Do not make the mistake of being part of a Facebook group here for fishing, because all you get is propaganda to do seal culling. And my view on that is the seals were here first. Right, so this is kind of beautiful, the way the ripples over the water are shown. The water is definitely more realistic than X-Plane. I'm still missing like big waves, sea waves and stuff, but right now that wouldn't be here anyway. Let's head to Deception Pass. Yesterday I dove underneath it. And why not? I can do that now too. I just found myself at a position yesterday where I'm like, oh, I could totally keep going and just go underneath it. Imagine the water coming through here real fast, and the eddies and vortices. Oh, it's a little windy. Probably pissed off a lot of FAA regulators right now. Deception Pass and its park. Let's head for the corner. There was a lot of turbulence there all the way through For a second I thought I might have made a mistake because it kept pushing me towards that, you know, land. Now I must say though, since I know the area pretty well, this is fun to do. I think something like the Grand Canyon would be kind of fun as well. But let's switch again. How much you want to bet right after that it's going to go to Victoria Approach?
Whitby Approach, Orange Niner, 600 feet. Orange Niner, Whitby Approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.15.
I think you'd agree that this is fantastic. The scenery, the quality, the clouds. Again, I can make X-Plane look that way as well, but not out of the box. I don't know. I don't think I can make it look this good. This is the Skagit Valley. Well known for its tulips. Tulip Festival and stuff. And it always... I always found it funny because out of all the fields here, it really is only like a dozen fields that are tulips. And the rest is just potatoes. So this whole tulip festival and tulip town, and to me it's a bit overblown. You wouldn't see many of these fields colorful in that time. But you know, it's a tourist thing. Grow a couple of tulips and suddenly you're a big deal. Alright, this is the channel. This is the other way to get to the other side of Whidbey Island. And a much more fun way, I think. Not as scary. And it's kind of beautiful, this boat trip. And what I like to do is tie my boat up at the corner. Because by the time I'm here from the Camino boat launch, I've had an hour and a half or so of a boat trip already. It's the Lacona Marina. And downtown Lacona is kind of a nice place to do a quick rest stop. Have lunch. Again, it looks like half of the town is underwater or something. But you can see some effects on the coasts here, on the water. This bridge is actually a suspension bridge, and it looks prettier than it looks here.
Orange Niner, contact Whidbey Approach on 118.2.
Right.
Going to 118.2, Orange Niner.
Not Victoria.
approach Orange 990. Orange 990 with the approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.14.
By boat, this is the weirdest little passage. And you'd think it's wide open here? No. Because straight ahead is very shallow water. And there are actually markers here. This looks like a castle on the right. There's no castle there. There's actually markers here to take a very sharp right-hand turn. And then there's markers for a channel, very narrow channel, going that way for a while. Anyway, this is about planes, not boats, so let's finish this little flight and head over to Arlington Municipal.
Orange 990, contact Victoria approach on 132.7.
Victoria.
132.7 Orange 990. Victoria approach Orange 990, 300 feet. Orange 990, Victoria approach, continue as planned. Altimeter 30.14.
Let me show you where Victoria is on the map. Victoria is here. Okay? Vancouver is closer, which is up there somewhere. Victoria is all the way over here. So I don't get this Victoria approach. I think it's a bug, not a feature. And right now we're heading for, where are you? K8WO, right there, Arlington Airport, for a full stop landing, and that is where I will end my flight. Get a little closer to those fantastic looking mountains. Trying to trim it so I don't have to. Alright. Let's look at how to set a course here. So this direct to right there. Select waypoint. Okay, where are you? W. And oh, Arlington Municipal right there. Enter. Activate direct to, and this is kind of nice. It'll show you a direct to line. It's fogged in. Actually, it might not be. We'll see. I live in this neighborhood. My 5 should be over here somewhere. And yesterday I looked down at I-5 and I'm like, hey, I know that exit. Let's find I-5. There it is. Right ahead of, dead ahead of. And it's fantastic that you can do that. I have flown to my house and it did show it pretty decently. I think most people will do that first in this flight simulator, is look at their house. This is the corner exit right there. This is I forgot what that little town is called. I mean, it's a tiny and insignificant little town, but kind of cute, I suppose. It's the roundabout. And that would be the exit that I normally take to get to my house. Alright. Let's find Arlington and the soup. Climbed enough, I think. Yeah, Arlington is fogged in. That right there is Mount Rainier, dead ahead. And if the weather is clear enough, you can actually see it from very far ahead, far away. Means to the left here, there's Mount Baker somewhere. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. And I think that might be Mount St. Helens right there. Not 100% positive on that. It could be. Alright. We're gonna find an airport in this soup. This is the kind of soup I'm not allowed to fly in a light sport airplane, I know. I don't care. I'll give you an idea how the visuals are. Right. So I'm pretty close now, and I still can't see it. Let's see if I can find it by going low and into the soup. If it's too fogged in, I'm gonna go to my alternate, which is the airport I just did a touch and go on. Might as well try to redeem myself. There are runway lights. It's not undoable, but tell you what, I changed my mind. I'll try to redeem myself over there. I'll try to do a full stop landing on Camino Island. I could of course just set it down anywhere in the water. This is where I'm happy with a artificial horizon. This is also why these planes are only VFR. Let's do a north approach. Does mean I gotta fly around quite a bit. Right, after overflying Camino Island, the airport on Camino Island, minuscule building and grass strip of Camino Island, I should say. Actually, I don't think even, I think it's a dirt strip. Or a, I mean a actual concrete strip or whatever. I found that it was fogged in the first time as well, so I continued to Whitby, which is completely white. So I've decided to come back here and see if I can find the runway now, and I can. So I will make an attempt here again, this time for a full stop, and this time coming from the north. It's barely good enough. I had a hard time finding it as well, just buzzing by it, but just coming in from the south makes it kind of easy. Let's start working on my flaps and landing gear. I need to call, let's see, Camino. Runway 16, full stop landing.
13 Whiskey traffic, Orange Niner, 1 miles north, 300 feet inbound to land, runway 16.
Nice tight turn. Alright, there's the gap.
Whiskey traffic, Orange Niner is on final runway 16 to land.
Look at the size of that. That's a fantastic little runway for as a challenge. Too high. I gotta hit that runway right at the beginning. Oh, on the grass. Oh, beauty. Wow. Now that's fun flying. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna park this thing to the side somewhere. That's pretty much where you park here. On the real airport, you can see planes still parked there after dozens of years. I set a parking brake so I don't roll back because it feels like I'm up a hill. It's not much, is it? But it's a runway. Right. Well, thank you very much for watching my little video. Well, it turned out to go a little long, didn't it? But I hope it gives you a sort of an idea as to what Microsoft Flight Simulator looks like, what you can do with it. I turn off some lights here. And master off. Shuttle valve off. There you go. Well, again, thank you very much for watching, and hope I'll see you soon again.